Greetings, fellow nerds. Welcome to another MTG NerdPhil video where we are doing some Strixhaven Standard. Today we're taking a look at a popular deck that we're all familiar with, giving it a little bit of a spin to it. I'm going to see if a couple of changes I've made to this very popular meta deck that you all see in Standard Ranked has a potential chance to do even better. So if you want to see more stuff like this, be sure to hit subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell. We're on our way to 300 subscribers, and I'm still committed to doing YouTube, even though I am live on Twitch as well. You can catch me from 7:30 to around 10:30 to maybe 11. Sometimes I start earlier or close a little bit earlier, just kind of depends. But be sure to also follow me on Twitch. Hit that description. Give your boy a follow. So yeah, again, we're on our way to 300 subs, so would really appreciate all the help you guys can get me to get there. That's our next 100 mark step. So today we're looking at mono red and just kind of finding ways to make it even more aggressive, potentially throwing in cards that the opponent may not expect. So let me show you what we're working with. So we have 4 Forgement Champions. No surprise, there's multiple of these in early rounds is fantastic, but it's still good even in the mid-game area. 4 Shocks. Shock is a little bit more dependent, but honestly, I love the Japanese art, which is why I'm throwing it in here. But sometimes mono red has a little bit of trouble pushing in for the last points of damage, especially in the mid to late game. So Shocks kind of give you that opportunity. Now I am trying Image Storm Raider as well, because sometimes you just need to dig a little bit closer to the Torbran or the Embercleave, and Image Storm Raider is a way to that. Now I do realize it is very, very fragile, but I think it's worth it. 3 Rimrock Knights, 4 Robber of the Riches, 4 Annexes, and we're adding 2 Bolt Hounds as well, just to provide that extra aggression. It's haste, so it's good in that aspect as well. 4 Bone Crusher Giants, and I am committed to Phoenix of the Ash. I think it's a good card in the meta because of mill, because of rogues, so it gives you a little bit of a backup plan. 3 Torbrands, 4 Embercleaves, then we got Shadow Skull Smashings, Embereth, and Mountain. So for the most part, it is pretty similar to what you're used to in the meta, but just throwing a bit of extra cards and maybe giving some value to red that it desperately needs. Now again, there are some sacrifices that have to be made for the Raider, but I think it pays off actually. I think it's a little bit stronger, but we'll see. So we're going first. I'm going to go ahead and keep this. Why not? It seems very doable. 3 Bone Crusher Giants, how can I say no? It says the randomizer acting very strangely. So we're going to go ahead, just Robber of the Rich it up. Cool. We got rid of a land. Chances are they're good on lands anyway, so that was a little bit unfortunate. I would have loved to have stolen actually something from them, but we'll take what we can get, right? So here we are going to put a light. See what we can steal. Another land. Alright, that's fine. Yeah, so unfortunately Robber of the Rich is not stealing anything from us, so we're not robbing anybody. That's okay. Like, that's probably a little bit more common on this channel. So we're actually helping our opponent in that sense. That was an interesting choice, but sure. Yeah. He probably has another Witch's Vengeance, so I'm actually going to hold back. Would have loved to have drawn a lane and just, I would have probably actually hardcasted the Bone Crusher Giant. Oh, okay. So I might have been playing a little bit too safe, but that's okay with me. Still getting aggressive, which is what's important. Oh, that was actually a pretty good draw. Alright. So I'm actually going to hardcast because next turn we can just Bone Crusher and Bone Crusher. So that kind of worked out for us. So mostly one with the standard mono red that you're used to. So there is still that. Again, most of the deck is comprised of what you're used to, and there is still some value. But again, we're just trying to see if adding Image Storm Raider and Bolt Hound and keeping Phoenix of the Ash. I know some mono red has done away with that. I actually think right now in the current meta, it's still worth keeping, just because of all the people who are still playing rogues, who still love to mill. I mean, I personally like to mill out the opponent every now and then. It's just a mood thing for me, but some people get like some delight of doing it 24/7. So I think it's still worth keeping personally. But We shall see. So opponent's going first. So here is the Image Storm Raider. I'm gonna go ahead and keep this for sure. Depending on our draws, we may not even need to. So we probably can discard a land here, which is actually pretty good. We have more than enough lands to function our deck, so there is still some value in the Innistrad Raider. So I don't have another haster, so I'm just gonna attack here and kind of land into the opponent's whatever. They probably have a removal spell. Don't really care, to be quite honest. There's a Bone Crusher guy. Makes sense. Tempting as it is to kill our own guy, that doesn't make that much sense, so we're gonna get rid of a land here. Boom. Yeah, see, so there is still some value because we just drew into really another land at this point. So, boom. Perfect example. So I'm gonna go ahead and attack here. Give our opponent a little bit of a confusion, like what the heck is he doing? Decides to go for it. Alright, yeah. So we trade here, which is totally fine with me. Innistrad Raider's already really done his thing. Gonna get rid of another land here. Boom, shock. 2 shocks, okay. Not what I wanted to see right now. Shocks are really more of a late game kind of draw, so I'm a little worried. We have not seen much of our creatures, even with the Innistrad Raider, which happens, right? It does happen. And again, I do realize the consequences of playing shocks over creatures, but come on, I gotta use this art, right? Now here's the thing, we also are a step closer to playing our annexes, a step closer to playing our Embercleaves, Phoenix of the Ash, Bolthound, Bone Crusher Guides. So there is some value to be said. Let me get a sip of my coffee here. And of course, a perfect example is kind of just working with what you have. Right, so this was a game where we are actually going to get super flooded, and we've just mitigated a lot of that. So now this game might have already been written from the very beginning, where it says, hey, you actually were not supposed to win this game. And we're trying to look at that and say, well, I'm going to give it a shot. I understand that, you know, being flooded as a mono red player feels awful because you're playing less lands, and, you know, it just doesn't really make that much sense. But it's okay regardless. Alright. Oh, there is a Phoenix of the Ash, so that's pretty nice. Sure. I'll go ahead and run into the counterspell. No counterspell. Also, keep in mind that discarding does feed the Phoenix a little bit, so we can actually escape with it. So there's actually a bit of a combo that I did not foresee at all. So I'm actually very surprised. Now, I do suspect he has a Scorching Dragonfire of some sort, probably, to deal with cards like Phoenix of the Ash. If he doesn't, fantastic for us, because then we just get to apply a lot of pressure. Oh. Oh, they actually get exiled. Okay, so as I suspected, he does have a way to exile our cards. So that was pretty rough, actually. So, and of course, the Embercleave does come in a little late to the party, but that's okay. Dragonic Intervention is a cool card, actually, that, you know, very much works with Prismari spells. So that was cool. That's probably Auron's Epiphany. I'm willing to bet an arm and a leg. Or I saw it coming. 3 shocks in a row. Gotta love it. So that's technically 6 damage, so it's not the worst. It's not the best by any means either. We're just gonna have to work with what we have, right? So what does this mean? Is this unlucky? Is this just kind of deck building? I would say it's a bit of both, right? 4 shocks probably don't need that much. But again, we are going to try and do what we can. Even if we draw a Bolthound, for instance, that's still applied pressure. Even playing a 1/1 is applied pressure. So now I do suspect that once again this is a those are So one's an Auron's Epiphany, one's saw it coming. That's kind of my thought process right now. It's good to think about what the opponent potentially has for foretell, right? Especially in common decks like these. That being said, again, I'm treating our opponent's life as 8, right? So this is going to get countered. We don't have much of a choice here. We have to run into every counter spell, every destruction spell as much as we can, right? So here's our saw it coming because he's, yep, there you go. Which is fine, right? Honestly, I'd rather keep a Bolt Hound or what do you call it? Phoenix of the Ash. So again, it was unfortunate that our Phoenix of the Ash got exiled because there's just some free pressure applied there. So we're not drawing any of our creatures, which is fine. It's gonna happen. He's looking at our kind of feel and kind of gauging what's the right time to pop something, right? So this is, you know, I know a lot of people might say, you know, why don't you just scoop? And the answer is, well, I mean, there's no need to scoop quite yet. So here's the Auron's Epiphany that's coming right up. Oh, it's just as bad? Okay, so we probably do end up scooping from here, but we'll see. I'm going to try and get rid of the Flame Painter. But this game was pretty much decided from the beginning, just based on the sequence of draws. The Image Storm Raider helps, but it cannot save. That's what's most important. It cannot save games where it's already been dictated. And this is one of those games, right? This is one of those games. That's okay. I don't mind personally because that just means that I actually wanted to say this. That actually does mean that there is value in this deck that so we'll go ahead and scoop here. There's value in this deck that just wasn't able to show its full potential, right? So we get wins like the first game where it's, you know, pretty quick. We have, even though we didn't have the Annex or the Embercleave, it's not necessary, right? Once you have enough removal spells and enough aggression on the board, pretty much set to go. In games like this, where it was dictated where the lands and the shocks were kind of just stacked in the front, you just kind of look at that and say, all right, that's fine, no big deal. So again, I'm not sure what deck we're playing against, but if we kind of just push through a little bit for the last damage, we want to get as aggressive as possible. I'm just going full throttle here. I know that they don't have a shock. I will take the Ox anyway. Now I'd like to draw a land here, but oh, it's actually Gruul. Okay, so that's probably a Bone Crusher in hand, and they're trying to debate if they want to use it. They decide to go with the ramp play. We did draw a land. That was very fortunate. Let me see what we get here. Oh. Oh. I'm gonna play the Clothis. I mean, I don't know. That seems pretty solid if you ask me. Is he playing Gruul? What am I looking at? I guess I'll never know, but I stole his Clothis, which is awesome. So he got a little mana screwed, but honestly, it would have been much worse if we weren't stealing his stuff, because wow. So again, and you know, once you're aggressive like that as mono red, people will just scoop up immediately because they're like, well, I can't survive much longer, I'm gonna scoop. And that was a fair assessment to say. Again, that's happened to us, it's happened to them, you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this. It is a little bit slower than I would like, but there's value in it. So, no reason to not say no. Okay, so we have all our lands to ever function, which is fantastic. We have our strongest creatures, so that's good as well. He's looking at us and he's like, crap, mono red. Looks like we're playing against Celestia? Oh, okay, sure. Oh, Phoenix of the Ash is pretty solid. I'm gonna go ahead and attack here though. I suspect he won't block because he wants to ramp. Now next turn we get to Embercleave, so the opponent's in a lot of trouble actually. Yeah. I think we're good to go, honestly. We kind of got the good sequence of draws that Monored is looking for. A little bit slower, mind you. We didn't have that turn 1 play, and I would have preferred like a Robber of the Ridge as opposed to Rimrock Knight, because I like the Rimrock Knight for its adventure side, but this will do as well. And Phoenix of the Ash is also here just for maybe a last point of damage that decides to cultivate. Okay, wow. He's he really be digging. He's actually Teamer. Okay. That's fine with me. Okay, decides to opt. I don't suspect a board wipe, so actually, technically, Torbrand is the better play all of a sudden. And we also have a Phoenix of the Ash to push in for less points of damage. And then, again, drawing shocks at this point has become super, super relevant. Because that is literally, one shock is half their life total. We also have another Haster with Robber of the Ridge, so that's fantastic. We can actually play Robber of the Ridge and still play Embercleave for its 2 mana cost. So the opponent needs to kind of board wipe here. They could be playing Storm Thingy, but that would wipe out their board. Okay, another Druid. That does not save you. Okay, I think our opponent drew the wrong end of their ramp deck. I think they're playing a Genesis alt deck, which, again, I'm gonna say, I think I have the better one. So actually, Phoenix. Yeah, that's game. There we go. Alright, so, again, Phoenix has some value. Still existent. Flying Haste, always a good combo. So, let's get in for one more, shall we? Let's get in for one more. Maybe even 2 more, depending how fast these games are. So, again, Mono Red, still strong in the meta, still very powerful, still... You know, it does mono red things, right? It's a meta deck that's here to stay just because it's just insanely fast. So Innistrad Raider is actually going to come in super handy here because I may not want to keep the Torbrand, which sounds weird. I love Torbrand, but this may not be the time for it. But if we get draw another land, then maybe I keep the Torbrand. That would be delightful. All right. Here's the thing, though. I do want to keep 4 lands. I could get rid of the Innistrad Raider. I'm going to play risky here. I know that was risky. Some of you are probably screaming at me. Some of you are like, keep the 4th land. What are you doing? What is wrong with you? And I'm saying, look, there's no fun without a little bit of risk in your life. Okay, I should have kept it. Here's the thing. I've got another Innistrad Raider, so I can chuck our second Torbrand. Now I realize I've made a mistake. Oh man, I really... Oh no! What have I done? I'm gonna see if I can get rid of that before it gets its 3rd counter. If he wants to use a protection spell or a counter spell on it, that's fine with me. Okay, yeah, there you go. There's the Snakeskin Veil. 'Twas was determined, I suppose. Oh. I'll bite. It's good for him to get rid of his stuff now. If I can get rid of his stuff now, it's actually better because my stuff gets better over time. Now, once we draw that 4th land, which I stupidly threw away, we'll be okay. Another Snakeskin Veil, sure. Totally fine with me. Oh no, what have I done? I didn't think it was this bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh dear. Oh dear. Alright. Here's the thing. They protecting the Sandstorm are like crazy. Their goal is to protect the crap out of that card. You can attack with the 1/1. I decided not to. That's fine with me. Now, I think our goal is to just get aggressive? I don't know what I'm doing. I kind of got unnecessarily risky. I probably actually should have chucked the Ember Cleave in hindsight. Sorry, I might have messed with my mic. I did not. I probably should have chucked the Ember Cleave. So, my bad. That's on your boy. That's on your boy. He made the mistake. Number of the Rich is fine. Let's steal some cards. Although, to be fair, I'm not really sure how I would have... No, actually, it changes how he would have responded. Because the Torbrand just adds so much pressure. I'm going to go ahead and scoop here. So, that was my bad. I assumed I would have drawn more lands afterwards, and that's a bad assumption to make, so learn from me. Learn from me. Don't do things like that. So we'll get in for one more game here. This will be our final game. We'll see if we can end it with a W. If not, all is good. But it's good to watch games like this. So if you're still here, that means you're learning. Be sure to subscribe. Help me to get to that sweet 300 sign money number. I speak English. So this is actually, wow, this is actually fantastic. I may chuck the Rimrock Knight, just because I like the curve here. So we'll see. I think we're playing against Gruul, most likely. Oh, it's actually Golgari. Oh, yep. But the thing is, I want to search for a land. 100% want to search for a land. Alright, there's Embercleave, I suppose. Not the card I was asking for, but that's fine nonetheless. Okay, there's the land. Actually... yeah, I can... Yeah, sure, this is good. Now, I am afraid of a board wipe. Something usually called Extinction Event that will kind of mess up my day. He's going for the Cultivate play. That's good news. I might be able to cinch it out here, honestly. Might be a little too slow. I'm going in, man. That's what you get for playing slow, I guess. So again, that Image from Raider was huge, honestly, because it was a turn faster to what we wanted. So I'll take it. So hopefully you found this video to be a little bit more educational if you're trying to climb the ladder with Mono Red and you're like, shoot, how do I make this better? I hope you give this deck a shot. Just kind of, again, tweak it to your personal playstyle as well. That's super important. This has become my playstyle just because there's certain days, I don't know why, it's just there's certain days or certain things that I do that somehow seem to affect what the game is at. There's no correlation, it's total randomization, but it feels like a pattern to me. So that's just kind of where I'm like, okay, what are cards that I can still use that does what the deck wants, but in a way that favors my personal playstyle or things that are happening. So I think Image Storm Raider is a perfect example of a card that if you feel like, hey, I'm getting mana screwed or mana flooded all the time, what the heck do I need to do? Maybe Image Storm Raider is your card. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, appreciate all your support. Follow me on Twitch, all that good stuff. Right now, up top, YouTube is of my most recent upload, and right below that is a video that YouTube thinks you specifically like. So go ahead, check those videos out. Thank you all so much for your support. I will be on vacation next week, so there won't be any uploads, but I'll just kind of keep you guys updated. I may make some comments, or I might even go live on Twitch just for a random hello. But thank you all so much for your support. I'll see you for the next NerdPhil.